what tools to achieve your goals, building a muscle day in and day out. This is free information, so we are back with another episode, and today's episode will be slightly different. When we talk about tools, it would be strange that if somebody would ask you, what tools are you using to achieve your goals? And to be honest, it's absolutely fine question. So for example, if somebody is trying to fix up their bike, you would ask them, what tools do you require? And they would obviously then explain that there's some type of spanners or screwdrivers, or maybe if that's a tire, that you need then a spare tube and so on. So basically, I was out this morning getting my steps in, listening to the podcast, and I was just thinking what way I could transfer this information, these tools that we use in weight loss, fat loss, or maintaining our weights, or like, let's say for example, or building a muscle, like doing all these sort of changes to our bodies day in and day out. So I just thought comparing the actual tools, what sometimes we might need to use to carry out some jobs DIY, or even like building up something back in the garden or fixing up the car. So it's pretty much the same with our bodies. And so we are going to do a brief review. If you just follow on with us here. Okay, so we have so basically imagine that for example, you have to make a birdhouse, right? So that's the roof of it. So then there's one wall, another wall. We just kind of do like 3D. So that's the hole where the bird gets in. And yeah, so this is the back part, I think, with this only attached to the tree. So basically we have that, right? And we know to get this birdhouse, we need two main things. So one is materials. So for example, that's like wood. It could be nails. I think it's pretty much it. It depends how fancy you want. Maybe paint, if you want to paint it after. And then we would need tools. So it could be a hammer, a saw to cut down a wood, then maybe like a brush, a paintbrush, to paint it off, maybe like sandpaper, and you could also, if you want to go fancy, like softer inside, some like soft cloth or something like that, if you really care. But basically, generally, to make the birdhouse, we would need generally wood and nails. Everything else is like an extra. It's the same in terms of tools. So generally, we would need a hammer so we can get the nails in, and we would need a saw to cut down the wooden pieces, maybe measuring tape. If you'd like to get even walls or whatever, you get an idea. So basically, these would be the main principles, and the brush. So the brush is just an additional tool. if you want it to paint so it looks more better. So as the sandpaper, it is not necessarily to build that birdhouse, but if you want that is a much smoother and so on, so you can do that also with this soft filling inside the birdhouse, so you can make the floor or wallings out so it's warmer and stuff like that, but it's not 100% necessary. And what I was just thinking about is, so basically, if this is you, for example, okay, so you are actually, I was just thinking as a material, or maybe it sounds silly, but basically you'll get in a minute. So basically, this is you, not so happy for a minute. Yeah, that's just a weird picture. Anyway, so this is you, and then maybe you have a bit of a overweight, right? Let's say you have a beer belly or something, and now you just want to figure out what to do to get yourself back. So the same way we would go to our shed to get tools, which would be hammer, saw, brush, and so on. So the similar way we apply tools to lose weight, or just generally feel more healthier, more fitter, introduce a healthier lifestyle. So one of the basic principles, the tools that we would be using is calorie counting. So calories. So with calories, there are several things. There are different calculators, but probably the most accurate would be TD. Oh, it jumped. Will be total daily energy expenditure calculator. This will be more accurate if you don't lie about the data about yourself. First of all, weight, height, age, your activity level, and so on. So when you type in all these details, and what's the best part about this is there are, I think, 3 most common formulas used, and I think one of them also even doesn't ask your body weight, which means it's even easier for you if you have no idea what's your, sorry, not body weight, I mean like body fat percentage. So you can get pretty accurate on that. However, remember, none of these calculators you find online or you download any of the applications, they are not 100% accurate. So whenever you type in any information about yourself, there still might be a difference. It's because, for example, for one person, active lifestyle could be, in their opinion, if they just walk around the house, do a dishwasher, or maybe go up and down and clear out their laundry. Whereas for other, in his opinion, active lifestyle is because he's a carpenter and he's all day, every day on his feet, running around and fixing stuff. So these are 2 different things. So this is the main reason why we wouldn't rely totally just on the calculator. But based on the calculator, at least we have some point where to start at, and then we can go from there. And based on the weekly outcomes, once we weigh ourselves, we can then calculate, should we drop off some calories or increase, or it depends as well on our goal. So calories would be one of the big ones. And this is what we would start with is the same like if you start a birdhouse, you can't really paint anything if there is no actual house made. Or what's the point to sand some wooden bits and pieces if they are not measured, taped, cut in pieces, or in order to in they being assembled as a house. So it's the same with this. So our first majority would be to figure out what is our daily calorie intake, and again it all depends of if we are looking to lose fat weight, if you're trying to maintain our weight, maybe you just want to become healthier and you just realize that you've been eating junk for like last 5-10 years and you've constantly no energy and you just feel miserable, you have no mood and like things like that, and you just finally decided that you want to just change things around, or you just realize that you have to gain some weight, so build muscle or gain weight. Obviously you wouldn't want just simply gain weight or fat. Obviously there has to be a purpose, so why you would want to become heavier. But in most cases with people that are doing activities and being in exercise and sports, they generally want to build more muscle. So the next one, the big one from our tools, would be walking or just getting steps in. So it seems that there's no big like improvement or big impact when we're doing these steps, but again, it depends. So for example, if you are not moving that much during the day, and for example you would be getting somewhere between 1 to 2k steps a day, well, you should increase that to about a 5k. It's easy to track them. Most of the smartphones either has built-in feature under health application or something different called in different devices, or you can always go either on iPhone on App Store and search for some step counter, or probably on all the Android devices you also have on Google Store where you can download these. So the next big one would be to get these steps in. And the best part about walking is that you can literally do any time, anywhere. You don't have to be super fit to do it. And the best part, it's pretty low impact cardio on your body. So you can literally do any day of the week. Sometimes even you can go in the morning on your own, for example, listening to some podcast music or just an audiobook, and then maybe later on catch up with somebody and go for a walk in a park or any other way. But yeah, that's an option as well, and you will see how actually easy it is to get them away. And once you stop really concentrating on that, but just putting in the unconsciousness in your mind that you just have to get these steps in, eventually will happen and it'll start do big changes. Now, the third tool that we would suggest to use probably is a water consumption, and we would generally aim for around 3 liters, but probably it's better to 4, even 5. Even 5 if you like are more athletic. For example, if you do maybe running 3 or 4 times a week, you know that it depending on your sweat rate, how much you would be sweating, so all that would matter as well. But for example, if you're just an ordinary person that is trying to drop some pounds, become more healthier, just to do some healthier choices in your food options, like, or in overall general to become a better person, this is the amount what we would suggest to drink. So we have calories, steps, water. So these would be the basics which we would want to stick with, without too much going deeper, because what happens is having these basics, you already getting a better of yourself if you keep doing it. It's the same like if you have this birdhouse. So once you have wood, nails, hammer and saw, more likely you will build something. And then obviously it becomes down to more of your preferences, so what we want to do further. So once you start feel different, you will notice that some clothes maybe might not be as tight anymore. Maybe you'll realize that some of your colleagues, friends or family members will say, oh, you're starting to change, like you look different, you look better, or so on. And however, we would say that you shouldn't be focusing always on social impressions. Is generally for your own benefit, for your own health, because in long run, obesity isn't good anyway for you. It will kick you, it will bite you in a arse you one day anyway if you are overweighted, because there's a constant constraint on your joints and all your internal organs. If there's a fat all over the place inside your tummy, so a lot of organs are just like swimming in the pools of fat, and it needs extra pressure like to work properly, and it's like in the long run it won't be good. That's 100%. So another thing that what you could focus on, one of the tools that we could pull out is you could try to plan your meals. So not only waiting the moment when you feel hungry and just then go and grab him something, whatever you see first, but try to fill up your meals the way, basically, if you're talking like macronutrients, one of the most filling macro is protein, and it's no doubter that you would want that on your plate, especially if you're doing like resistance training, weightlifting, or even a bit of a more cardio other than just doing steps. Your body, your muscles will need to be recovered. These muscle layers needs to be replenished, and this is the best way to go. Also, what's the best part about protein is that when we consume proteins, your body actually spends calories also to break down protein. So actually, if you consume more protein, it also involves more calories being burned while your food is being processed. So we would generally aim probably something between 30 to 40 grams of protein, but there's no problem if you go up to 50 or 60. Generally what happens is when you are in a muscle building phase of recovery, basically your body can't really process more than 30 to 40 grams for recovery or to rebuild the muscles. But there's no harm if you get it more, and will actually make you full for longer. That's a fact, and I've tried that myself a lot of times, especially if you're on a lower calorie diet, especially when you're cutting. What you want is reduce this hunger, and then obviously you make different choices when you are in a maintenance or surplus, because in surplus you can literally eat anything unless you stay in your daily calorie intake. But if you're talking about while you're losing fat or in a fat loss mode, obviously you want to keep an eye on these calories, and obviously in that case you always want to try these smarter decisions where you can waste less calories on something that is not necessary at that minute. So for example, if you have just an example, it's an old one, but like let's say for example you have this chicken fillet. In this case, when you're trying to lose your fats, you wouldn't top that off with like some garlic mayo or something. It's just because sometimes the amount of garlic mayo you put on could be twice the same calories like the chicken fillet, so that would be out the window. So what's the point? But yeah, so basically meal plans would be another one, planning ahead, and obviously you get that meal in within like 30-40 grams of protein. Just one second, I'm gonna check how much we are in, because we don't want to extend this video for too long. So we are already we're just gonna go faster. So yeah, meals. What's next? What else can we mention here? Another probably tool could be like we use a measure tape for birdhouse. One of the measures is the calories with the calculator, but another one could be scales. And a lot of times you shouldn't be afraid that one day, for example, you jump on the scales and you have an 80 kilos, and then next day you jump on and you have an like 81, 81, and you might be thinking, wow, what's happening, like I've been in this calorie deficit, and then the next day, for example, there's again 80, oh geez, I keep writing 21, so it's 81, and so on. It could be going like days, but obviously your weight will fluctuate, and it really depends on how much water you drink, how much you move. So for example, on one day you might be drinking, so let's say one day you only got in like, for example, you get in 3 liters of water, but you also that day did like some running for like 15 minutes, and you obviously sweat out some of the water, and maybe you drank more coffee on that day as well. Okay, so that's mean you also got dehydrated because of the coffee, and next time you jump in on the scale could see like 78, and you think, wow, I dropped like 3 kilos. But then the next day you just keep eating normally, you drink your 4 liters of water, and maybe you got some food that is a bit more in salt. So what happens is since salt contains sodium, so we would have like sodium to water measure ratio in our body, and what happens is our body will hold on a bit of water as well due to that, so you might not be going and like leaving more into the toilet. So what could happen is that on that following day you might be again jumping on at 81 or even like 82, and you shouldn't be afraid of that, because only what we would want to do is, if you measure yourself, you could go measure yourself every day of the week, and then you take like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 measurements, you add them together, and then you divide by 7, and this is how you get that average weight. And you do the same with the next week and the next week and the next week. And then, for example, if within 2-3 week time we've no difference, or you slightly are going up, so that's mean we would have to adjust our calories. So we would go back to the very basic principle, because basically what matters the most is the calories and literally steps and water. Everything else then, like meals, obviously it's the big one, because these are basically connected, meal and your calories, but like all the other things, for example, if you would be doing cardio as well, like running or maybe cycling or any other things. See, the thing with cardio is, in that, it generally will make you lose fat. What it does is it will help you boost spent calories during the day. But again, you have to be very careful, because what happens is, if you are in a calorie deficit while you're losing fat, you have to stay in certain amount of calories per day. But for example, if you go out for a cycling for 2 hours, your body spends a lot of calories, and then you come back and you'll just feel miserable. You'll be weak, and it won't be healthy to sustain that type of fat loss procedure, especially if you extend in this, or if you're doing this for like, let's say 8 or 12 weeks, or maybe you want to continue this for like 3 months or maybe half year, but with just smaller like goals. For example, you only want to lose like maybe a half a pound a week. You just go a lot slower. You're adapting your body slowly, week over week, but for longer periods of time. And the best part of that is, if you do it slowly, more likely when you reach your goal after whatever, it's like 6 months or maybe even 12 months, 12, like a year, what happens is you will get so used to it that it won't feel anymore like you are on a diet, and you can actually sustain that lifestyle. So basically what we're saying is that it's good to have cardio in your routine, but you generally focus on all these these would be the main things that we would want to focus, including meals. But meals is generally based on your calories. So I think that's pretty much it. In terms of cardio, it's slightly different. There are some individuals who try to get down their body percentage something like in a single digit. So in that case, a lot of times these guys, for example, if they started their fat loss at, let's say, go easy, they have like 2000 on the week 1. So maybe by week 4 they would have to do a little adjustment since they start lose some fat. So maybe they down to 1850, and then they keep going because they see that they are not in the form they would like. So for example, in the week 6, maybe they down to 1750, for example, and then they see there's still no result, and they don't want to extend this low calorie diet for too long. So going into week 8, they quickly drop to 1600 calories, and they might introduce additional cardio session just to get that result done by like week 10, and that's it. They would just, so by the week 10 they would have that cardio also, but basically they didn't use this cardio from the week 1 because they were letting adapt body slowly by using, again, we come to the basics. They stick to their calories, they did their steps, they drink their water, they might did their resistance training and so on, and slowly they went down in calories, but they also body fat shrunk week by week. But then by the end of week they realized we don't want to go on anymore for that low calorie daily intake. We're gonna add some cardio sessions. So in the next 2 weeks they might do additional 3 or 4 cardio sessions, 15 minutes to half an hour, and yeah, then they get their results done by week 10. But the problem in most times is that people are impatient and they want results by done by 3 or like 4 weeks, and they try to apply everything that we know, the calories, steps, water, meals, checking scales, maybe sometimes even 2 times a day, and then they also involve their cardio. They could be going out for the running, cycling. And that's the funny part, because I'm telling this from my own experience, because I had no clue that once you focus on your principles, on your basics, it's actually so easy if you just follow these steps. And it's just, yeah, that's what we'd want to stick to. Yeah, I think that sums up. We are not going to extend anymore, and so I'm just save that. Yeah, but generally what it is, it's more like a journey. It's something that you don't want to rush. You actually want to enjoy, and you want to see these results step by step. Because what happens a lot of times is, we just launched a video yesterday as well, where what happens sometimes is that you rush these things. You are capable. For example, if you are in calorie deficit at 2000 calories, you might be easy able to go like 5 or even 7 days at like 1500, even 1400, maybe even for 2 weeks. You might be going crazy. But what happens is your hormones will get messed up so much that after a while you will just go wild, and you won't be able to get that satisfaction from food, and actually the results and the starvation will just go wild, and you won't be able to control that. And at that stage, and this is it feels like you're walking on thin ice, where you kind of see these results and you think, I'm just going to do this, and it never stops at just one this. You actually keep doing it, and then it starts go into like a circle, and just keep coming back. Then you go back to the drastic calorie deficit, and since you can't extend it more for several days, you just go wild again, and then you're back to the calorie deficit, and it's just on and on and on while you actually give up because you just don't see results. Instead of just taking things slowly, adjusting things week by week, maybe introducing some things. So that's why this video was about tools. So we take tools, the first necessary tools, and then we add one tool at a time. We don't throw all the tools straight away. So for example, if you build something that needs to be painted and sanded and plastered and so on, you don't throw everything. So if the man is building a house, he won't bring to the building site a lamp or like a microwave or a fridge. So he will start with a foundation, then he'll build the walls, then they plaster inside, and then do like electric wiring and stuff, more likely, I think, or the plumbing was all along as well. So you kind of do step by step to achieve that great result, and I think that's the point for today. I hope you get it. Probably, see, the thing is, I'm not going to drastically edit this video. It will go out as raw as it is, yeah, because this is free information, so I'm not going to too crazy to edit and make like a special movie or something. So I hope you get this, and yeah, if you have any questions, you can always leave the comments below the video. You can send a DM on Instagram or TikTok, look for Mr. Gent, and yeah, that's all it is. Stay in touch.